Aaron Whitlow,
Brandon Spivey.
and we are the Markout Movie Podcasters. My voice almost left me just for a second.
Almost.
Today we have the honor of reviewing my favorite film, one of my favorite films. I'd say one of my favorite films. I mean,
Go ahead, say it's your favorite.
it's my favorite horror film of all time, but it's one of my favorite films. Period. Halloween has a special place in my heart, and I'll talk a little bit about that here in a little bit. But yes, we are doing Halloween 1978 from John Carpenter, produced by Debra Hill, also executive producer Erwin Yablans, and so many different people. Mustafa Akkad, who later on took over the series pretty much, but starring the late great Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tony Moran's in it, Nick Castle. You have Nancy Kyes, who was actually Nancy Loomis at the time, PJ Souls, Charles Cyphers as Sheriff Brackett, Kyle Richards as Kylie Richards, I guess Kylie Richards as Lindsay, and then Brian Andrews as Tommy, and you have a host of other folks that's in this movie. Brandon's about to hit you with some numbers.
Numbers. Okay, so I got a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Metacritic gives it an 87%. Audience score is 89%. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 96% overall, which is certified fresh. And it's got a 89% on the audience score.
And we're joined in the the fan section, the hill section, we would call that. I don't know.
The hill section.
Yeah, we're for us wrestling fans. Also seeing Punk's coming back tonight, guys. But Bilford the Hobbit, what's up, Bilford? Thank you for joining us. When's the first time you saw Halloween 1978? Let me know. All right, and I just want to talk a little bit about some of the backstory of Halloween, so how it came about. So Erwin Yablans he just finished a movie, and he wanted to make another movie, but he wanted it to be a horror because horror was getting popular, and so he had an idea about it's called the Babysitter Murderers, I think, and so he pretty much utilized, like, he wanted to work with John Carpenter because he finished helping him distribute Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah.
And so from there, they, pretty much worked with it. Carpenter couldn't believe that the name Halloween hadn't been used in a horror film yet, as far as like the title. But also, we got to talk about it, Brandon.
We're gonna talk about it.
So
what are we talking about?
This people credit this as the first slasher. Honestly, that has to go to, in my opinion, to Black Christmas, which came out a year or two before Halloween, maybe the year
74, I believe.
No, 74 was
73.
74 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think Black Christmas came out in 77. I want to say 77.
I was thinking it was before then, but maybe not.
But I can look it up real quick. But yeah, I credit Black Christmas as the first 70. Oh, you was right, 74. I didn't realize it was that far.
I was thinking it was 74.
Good job, Brandon. I didn't realize it was 74. I thought it was like was only a few years prior, like a short few years prior to Halloween. But it's actually several years, 4 years.
Yeah, I think it doesn't get the credit it deserves simply because it was from a Canadian production company. But it's a very good film. I've seen it. What was it? 2019, very first time. I watched it mainly because John Saxon's in it, but also the girl from Romeo and Juliet's the lead actress, and so it was a pretty decent film.
Bilford says, first time I saw Halloween 78 was last year. It was cool. I was too late to appreciate it. Yeah, well, hey man, it's better late than never. It doesn't matter if you've seen it just recently or you saw it like I saw it when I was a kid. But Brandon, you're a little later to the game.
No, not really.
Well, you probably knowing you probably seen two before one.
I did actually. I
I
saw
was gonna
two
say,
before one. Like every Halloween after trick or treating, like I always come into the house with Halloween 2 on.
mm,
I don't understand. I don't know how that happened, but it was like all the time Halloween 2 was playing. So when I was little, I actually confused 2 with 1. But, because 2 was like, I don't know. I just, that was the one I saw first, and that was truly Halloween for me. Uh, of course, I would see Halloween. It was weird. I would always like Friday 13th, 2 before 1. Like, I don't know. I don't know why I saw the sequel before the original back in the day.
yeah,
But I had to sneak it in too, so
yeah.
the family didn't.
He wasn't Amish, but
I wasn't Amish. I
close.
don't know where this came from that I was
Uh,
Amish, but
KJ Carrington, who worked with me on paintball, his film, we're gonna work to do paintball too. He says, "Hey, my cousin Alicia Weaver says, me too. I guess she loves this movie." Um, and then got several other folks that's commenting. But yeah, for me, my first time seeing Halloween um, actually was probably the TV run version of it because I remember watching it. Honestly, I'm like you. I guess I sort of bleed in Halloween and Halloween 2 as being like one film. So it's hard for me to realize where one began, where the other one is.
yeah,
So, you know what
I
I
feel
mean?
you. I feel you.
But yeah, obviously, real quick, more backstory. Halloween. Um, so Carpenter uh, did this film on a small budget. Jamie Lee Fox, not Jamie Lee Fox, Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know why I said Jamie Lee Fox. Jamie Lee Curtis. Uh, this was her first breakout role. She's of course Janet Leigh's daughter and Tony Curtis's daughter. And her mom was in Psycho. He loved Psycho. There's a lot of homages to Psycho. Donald Pleasance was not the first person to play not the first choice to play Loomis in this film. It actually was Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, but they both turned it down because the money wasn't good for him. The money wasn't right for him. But Donald, he had 6 kids, and he's like, "Man, give me that money." And I'm glad Donald Pleasance, because Donald Pleasance breathed in what it was to be Sam Loomis.
Oh, absolutely. Like for the longest time, I didn't even know his first name was Sam. I was just Loomis, Doctor Loomis. But yeah, it was he carried this franchise for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, carried it. I just when you thought Halloween, of course you thought Michael, but you thought Loomis right there with him. I mean, I felt they were equals.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah, he carried the franchise for the longest, and actually, I think that if he hadn't never passed away, I think that he would have still continued to be
Oh yeah.
in some form or function. I would love to have seen him if he was alive. I'd love to have seen him as an older Loomis in the 2018 version. Like I would love to have seen. Of course, he probably wouldn't be able to take bumps and do all those things, but it would been great just to see. And
It would have been actually.
like I always mark out every time I hear his voice. We'll talk about it later, and when we review Halloween H2O because they play a little clip of his The Devil's Eyes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And just like I get giddy because it's freaking Donald Pleasance. I'm a fan of his. It's because of this movie, but yeah. So Halloween, man. What for you made this movie so important to the genre, important to horror?
I think for mostly it's the way it's shot. I had never seen anything shot quite like Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
and even today, it still stands out from the way most directors shoot their films today. It just James Wan, he follows suit with what Carpenter does, but most people don't, and it's just I don't know. Carpenter had a good eye for how he wanted to present his films back in the day, and it was pretty amazing. My favorite horror movie by John Carpenter was They Live.
All right, my favorite obviously is actually my favorite is not technically. I love Halloween, but it's not my favorite Carpenter film. My favorite Carpenter film is actually um, is actually
Well, what is it, Aaron?
the Thing. I'm sorry, I just drew a blank.
That's my favorite as well as The Thing. That's my favorite horror film.
Oh, really? That's
It's The
interesting.
Thing. Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I've been a fan of The Things since like I was like 9. Like I think I saw The Thing before I saw any of the Halloweens, so I didn't even know Carpenter directed it.
You
And I
didn't realize
love
it was the same guy.
no, and it's funny. It's funny because there's a little screenshot of The Thing in Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he had planned to remake that when he was making Halloween.
He was a big Howard. Is it Howard Hawks? I forget the guy's name, but anyway, he was a big fan of the guy who directed the original The Thing, and so you know, it was a great remake. It goes The Thing, The Fly, and The Blob is the greatest remakes in horror remakes, in my opinion. And if you want to throw a fourth one in there, The Mummy, which was fun. They took it to a different place, but yeah. But that's a little tidbit. That's just a little my thoughts.
Yeah, I can't comment on The Fly. I haven't.
Never seen The Fly?
No.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna have to watch that. But
or a sequel.
You're okay.
I didn't catch Eric Stoltz's version at all. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say as far as I want to mention, you mentioned the camera, the direction in this film. You got to mention that this film isn't the first movie to utilize the Panaglide, which is an early version of like the Steadicam, but it made it a character in this film. Whereas like there's a lot of POV shots in the Black Christmas film with Billy, but you never really. But it was just more of just to keep you in the darkness of who the killer is. And they Friday 13th imitated Halloween pretty much. It would not be I'll say it. Sean Cunningham. If it hadn't have been for John Carpenter and Halloween, there would not be a Friday 13th.
That's no secret. They ripped it off and created something. Hey, it's a fluke. Sean Cunningham is he's a hack. I mean, he is.
Go ahead, Rand.
I'll talk about him. I don't care. I mean, I'm a big Friday fan, but that man is a hack, and I wished he hadn't directed it. I wish he had nothing. I hope he loses all rights. I hope it goes. Well, in a way, I do, but in a way, Victor Miller probably screwed up even more. You know, I mean, truly, the guy that really got Jason over for me was Steve Miner from Part 2, the director. He brought Jason to life.
He made it different from what Cunningham was trying to do. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mentioned that because he deployed a lot of POV shots, but Carpenter did it better. Carpenter, Carpenter just like the way that the camera moves, the Panaglide, the way that it moves and it feels like Halloween. Even though this movie was shot in like Pasadena, California, every leaf that you see in this movie, Carpenter and Debra and Curtis and everybody that was a part of the movie hand painted leaves and gathered leaves and sprinkled leaves throughout because they shot in California to make it look like fall in Illinois, Haddonfield, Illinois. But fun fact, Haddonfield doesn't exist in Illinois. Debra Hill is from Haddonfield, New Jersey. Carpenter's from Bowling Green, Kentucky, for those that don't know. That's why if you watch Halloween, you're going to hear Russellville mentioned. Did you pop when you heard Russellville?
Yeah, I mean, I always pop, like in the fog, I popped when they talk about Russellville Road. Although I'm not a big fan of that movie. But I love that information, that love for where he came from, and that he's putting it into his movies early on in his career. I mean, that's respect for where you come from. I mean, that's all that is. And so I love that. When they talk about Russell, because there is a street down Russellville that looks exactly like the suburbs in the movie Halloween.
Really?
Yeah. Annette's friend, Michael mentioned his name. His family used to live on that street. And I remember staying with him, visiting him and his family. It's like, man, your house looks like the road that Laurie Strode and her friends got attacked. It's like, it's freaky. And there was this older guy just kind of walking down the sidewalk, and it's like, man, it's like, I'm living Halloween right now. I must leave.
We had a this is not Halloween related, but we have an Elm Street. Everybody has an Elm Street. That's what Freddie says. But anyway, there's a street here in Bowling Green. There was a house that looked like the cleaned up version of the Kruger house. And so I also segue back to Halloween with that. So when they did some pickup shots for this movie, the house that they used for the pickup shots is the same house that they used for Nightmare on Elm Street. So Nancy Nancy and Laurie Strode both occupied the same house, just several years apart from one another. It's pretty interesting.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I did some research for this, man.
You did some research.
But yeah, I just want to bring some fun little tidbits there. But yeah, the movie starts with a very young Michael Myers, and that's what I love about this movie, where I don't like about others. I love that there is no true motivation for why he killed his sister. And, you know, as a kid, I remember watching this movie thinking that the reason why he did it was because she wouldn't take him trick-or-treating. That's something I think Rob Zombie played with.
Yeah.
But that's not why he did it in the original.
No, there is no reason why he did it. And speaking of that scene, you know, with Sandy Johnson as Judith, well, I mean, how did you feel about that leading up to that? Not just recently watching
Maybe
it,
you want to drink some water.
I need to get a drink.
But how do I feel about the leading up
to it? How you felt like the direction they were going, like, so like first time viewer.
Okay.
Were you expecting that? I mean, I know you watched it as a kid. Were you expecting? Did you know what you were getting into with this opening?
No, I didn't. Well, I know that you get somebody like stalking, but at first you think you don't know if it's just a presence, but not so much a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, like, once you see like the hand and the reaching for the knife and stuff like that, you're like, oh, this is a person, you know, in the house. And by the way, you know, what's her name? Nancy in this, right?
Nancy, you talking about Danny?
Yeah, well, Michael's sister, Judith Myers. But Judith Myers, her boyfriend is the quickest. I mean, dude, you just went up the stairs, bro. Like, what's up with the dude? That's later on, anyway. So anyway, when I first saw it, I didn't know, and
they ain't taking their time to please the woman. They getting in and getting out.
That's what they're doing. But like what, I was gonna ask you your interpretations of the stabbing of Judith Myers. So when Michael's hands coming up and down, he goes from looking at her and he starts looking at his hands. How do you interpret that, like that action? Like, is he like excited to see, like, or just in I'm actually doing this? Like, how do you interpret that?
When I first watched it, like I'm
gonna get you, Debra.
And I feel it's still to this day. I feel like he's almost like he's possessed. Like there is no. It's like he's almost like a great white shark in a sense. What's that?
Got kind of comments.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Got a lot.
But all right.
Go feedback here.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer these. Go ahead and say what you're saying real quick.
All he's after, you know, he's out for blood.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And he's almost like he's like possessed in a sense. Like, I got to kill this person. There's no real thought process other than killing. So, like a great white shark out for blood. I mean, it's
no rhyme or reason. And I love that about him.
Yeah.
Like there's no.
And it reminded me years after watching the original Psych of that shower scene. That, you know, of Norman killing her.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that so much.
It's very, very much an homage to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Carpenter meant it to be an homage, but it truly was. It's very much an homage.
I would say he did. Say, hey, this is the biggest film, or what I think is going to be the biggest film since Psycho.
Yeah,
I don't know if he
I don't
thought
know.
that much of himself,
Yeah, I don't know.
but it was.
at first, critics panned this film, but one or two critics turned it around, and then now it became this phenomenal moneymaker. But
Yeah.
real quick, let me jump to comments, Bilfer, and then I'm gonna go to the Facebook comments. All right, my favorite horror movie is The Possession, 1981, starring Sam Neill. It was banned for 30 years because it was too violent. They dropped the Blu-ray in 2010, and it was the first time shown to the world. I've never seen that movie. Have you?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen it like streaming. I think on Amazon Prime.
You can read this one.
They are all terrible babysitters, and if I had children, I would never hire them. Hashtag justice served. I don't feel
except for Lori.
Lori's a very good babysitter. She doesn't leave her kids with anyone.
Lori was great. Lori was the number one babysitter.
Yeah,
like
I disagree that they all. And Linda's not actually a babysitter, I don't believe. She's just looking for a good time. But Annie was horrible. She was a bad babysitter.
She's talking about Friday 13th. My cousin Alicia was saying. She says she don't know how, but she knows that his mom was killed in the first movie. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Kim Proctor says, I've seen the entire franchise, and I have to check out your video when you're done. Okay, thank you, Kim. Shakira Tunstall, who is a journalist. That room is dope. Thank you. All right, and then KJ says,
Sean Cunningham is F.
I don't know. Laugh out loud, emoji, laugh out loud. All right, and then
don't get me started
give me
on
that
Sean.
shirt, Aaron. I can't do it, KJ. Haddonfield does exist. It's Bowling Green, Kentucky. That's what he's saying. Yeah, in my opinion, BG is Haddonfield.
Also, Sharon Grove, not Sharon
Smith's Grove.
Smith's Grove,
yeah,
is like the creepiest place I've ever been to. Have you ever been?
He said, "Talk about quickly." Smith's Grove. Yeah, my granddad. He is a farm. He was a farmer there.
Like me and my ex went there one time. Just she wanted to do some photography shots,
mm-hmm.
and the people just stared at us like we didn't. It was almost like Children of the Corn, almost like the kids looking at you like you don't belong here, and we're gonna get rid of you, one way or the other.
Yeah, depends on where.
I haven't been back.
I'm actually supposed to go to Smith's Grove tomorrow for my family reunion. All right, but
I'm sorry.
Hey man, I'm family there. But real quick, Bilford says they're all okay. I read that one. Ace is here. Ace Arcadia. Hey, hope everyone is doing good. What's up, Ace? Thank you very much.
Doing pretty good here, Ace.
Yeah, we're good. All right, let's get really back to it. So, after that murder, we flash forward 15 years later, I say, and then Dr. Loomis and nurse, what's her name? I thought she was going to be honestly, even watching this movie now, I always thought she was going to be a bigger part in this film. I always thought it felt like it's going to be her and Loomis looking for him.
But she was like one and done. No, she got scared and ran off.
She's like, no, man, that big hand came and hit me hit that glass behind my head and jerked my hair. So Michael steals the car. Somebody taught Michael how to drive, which also the novel, there's a novelization of Halloween, the original.
It's like $300.
You cannot find it. Yeah, you can find it on eBay.
Yeah, for like
300 something. Yeah.
Or higher.
Which I would love to own it, but it's not that deep. It's deep, but it's not that deep. It's not in published. It's not being. It's not in print. Is what I'm saying. But yeah, in that book, Michael actually did more things within the sanitarium, and like almost killing people. Like he tried to drown a girl in the bopping for apples barrel, and he spoke a little bit, but then he finally just stopped talking. But then, so that's why when you get to Sam Loomis, Dr. Loomis, now as an adult in this, or not an adult, is him later on in this film. That's why you see Sam and Dr. Loomis is like, no, he's evil. He needs to be institutionalized. He needs to be locked up and sedate him.
I'm shocked that he didn't try to get him executed.
Yeah, maybe he didn't believe in the death. Well, he tried to shoot Michael. I guess he does believe in something. But anyway, well, not try to. He did literally shoot the man. But anyway, but yeah, so Michael he escapes and he finds his way home. It's crazy. So Michael, between Smith's Grove and Haddonfield, he murders a truck driver. a pickup, tow truck driver, takes his outfit. Which, watching this movie when I was younger, I never noticed the body in the bushes. Never. It wasn't until, and I didn't know the significance of the rabbit in red, which Rob Zombie made a whole thing out of that, which it had no significance in this movie.
Yeah.
It just was there. I don't know. I don't even know if it was a reference to anything prior to Halloween. Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay, but yeah, it just was like a random thing. But Rob Zombie took it and said, "Well, that's where Michael's mama works. She's a stripper." You know, whatever, Rob Zombie, whatever you do, bro. Why you gotta have Sherry? Anyway,
Sherry. Yeah, I'm not looking forward. I ain't gonna get on to it. But I'm not looking forward to that Monsters reboot. But anyway, yeah, I'm not. We're not gonna really discuss Rob Zombie's version, are we?
Can't say I won't.
Yeah, well,
we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Hopefully not.
We'll discuss them, but we might not have to watch them. I don't know.
Good, because I want to spend money on that again.
But anyway, so what do you think about Michael stalking these people? Like in the
see,
the way
here's what you should never do to a crazy person. Speed kills. Never say that to a person driving really slow, watching you. First of all, that's a white thing to do, and that shouldn't be done.
Whoa, dang. Okay, teach. All right, bro. But so, quick question. So,
totally. You know what I mean?
Totally. So, hadn't Lori had to stop at the Myers house to drop the key off because Daddy Strode said to do so. Michael, she wouldn't have never been on Michael's radar. So no. Michael literally picked her up because she stopped by the house.
Yeah, they were just, and truthfully, I have done a tidbit of research on serial killers that are targeting people. And, it's just something about, there'll be one little thing they pick up on and they'll follow them, see what their routine is. And I guess that was it for Michael. She came to my childhood home. I'm going to follow this girl to school and everywhere. And she's going to be my victim later tonight.
Yeah.
On Halloween. I mean, it's just like, so I mean, really didn't have, but I think the girls, what was it? Was it Nancy?
Mm-hmm.
That said speed kills?
Yeah. PJ Souls.
No, it's Linda then. It was Linda.
Hey, jerk, speed kills.
Yeah. It's like, sealed their own fate with that.
Yeah.
Because Michael's not a forgiving person.
No, he is not.
He's out for blood.
You mentioned
he's like Michael Jordan. He takes it personal.
You mentioned, you mentioned he's like a shark in the water.
Yeah, he really is.
Blood. My cousin Devon Frank Whitlow says, big family reunion tomorrow. Cuz you ready? Yes, I'm ready. It's in Smiths Grove, so I will be in Smiths Grove tomorrow sometime. Now, hopefully Michael won't be there. Ooh, scary. No, but yeah, man. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill you definitely, and so it's almost like there were several times in the movie where he could have totally killed, like for instance, Linda Brackett, right?
He took her tongue.
Yeah, but he took it. It's like a mouse. It's like a cat playing with a mouse.
Came back at her. That speed kills.
Killed her in the car.
No, that's Annie.
No, yeah, it's Annie Brackett. My bad. I'm drawing a blank. But anyway. But Annie got killed in the car. Linda got
choked.
Yeah, it was a good choke. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it was a good choke, but it came off like she was having an orgasm.
Yeah, well, that's why. But it was.
Is that what choking's all about? Is that what
I don't know. I never did that. I don't know your life. But
my life. Why you gotta turn it on me?
But
like I be choking people. I ain't choking nobody. All right,
Brandon.
There's no choking going on.
No, we're talking about choking, bro.
Well, that's how he killed her. That's how he killed them both.
So let me ask you this question too. All right, so with Michael, do you feel like, all right, so there's a scene where Tommy is being picked on by Lonnie and his buddies, and they was like they made him trip and drop a pumpkin and stuff, and then like Lonnie ran into Michael and Michael just freaked him. If you read the comics, that wrecked that kid for the rest of his life. But
they should bring him back for Halloween Kills or Ends.
It would be great. But yeah, so do you think that Michael felt any sympathy towards Tommy at that point of being, or does he? Or
No,
is
I don't think
he
Mike
doesn't feel
feels.
sympathy at all.
I don't feel that he feels
So
anything.
why do you feel like he was stalking? Like, was he thinking, well, I can kill him now? Like,
But it was the thing. Well, until Halloween 2018, you didn't actually think he killed kids. So.
oh yeah, well, that is not the case. He would kill a kid.
Because I mean, just horror films usually didn't do that. So you kind of thought, well, maybe. And you thought Jason the same thing, that maybe they had sympathy for children.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think he has sympathy for Tommy at all. I think he would have killed Tommy later on in the movie if he had killed Lori.
Yeah.
It's hard to fall in love with horror movies when the real world is more scarier.
Yeah, it's true. That's why we lean on horror as a escape. We need to escape into
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, horror is escapism. It's not some, like, somebody once asked me, well, why you watch horror? You're a Christian and things. And yes, I am a Christian. I don't deny my faith in Christ. But horror for me is a way to escape the horrors of reality. Like and in some horrors, like somebody like Freddy Krueger is not scary to me because I know that it's not a real thing, even though it's based on a true story. But I know it's not a real thing. Yeah, it is based on a true story.
I've heard the story.
Yeah.
I
don't know how accurate that is, but yeah, but horror is escapism. John Carpenter once said, your first impulse in life when you're born is being afraid. You're born afraid. So it's the most basic human emotion that we as human beings have. And horror movies help do that, help us to feel that, but feel that safely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I can watch a movie and like, oh no, he's gonna kill this person, whatever. But then after the movie, after the
Hush,
film,
Alexa.
Stop. That's Siri. Stop.
Oh, Siri.
But anyway, don't say her name. But anyway, so we can watch these things and then escape in them, but not but then after the movie goes off, we're not surrounded by dead bodies or anything. You know
exactly. It's meant for entertainment, and a lot of people don't understand it. I'm gonna say a lot of Christians don't understand. I'm gonna use my family as an example.
Yeah.
Like they still harp on me for watching this stuff, and then I'm like, you just don't get it. I understand you don't get it, and my dad is like, you're blind. You're blind. And it's all right. I mean, I don't take offense to it. I don't get offended that someone says you don't understand. Well, I don't understand why you want, because it starts with darkness. Horror films are dark, and I'm like, it's truly for entertainment, and the people that make this movie understand that.
Yeah.
They're not hoping someone else actually gets inspired by this and goes out and kills someone.
Right. And there is some crazy, loose-headed, minded people in the world that could take something like this and do things like that. Like there's people that literally see an actress in a film and decide, I love her, and stalk this person. Like Daniel Harris had a stalker for years that she had to legally get rid of, and so there's been other people that have actually died by the hands of stalkers because there's some sick-minded people in the world. But in horror films, the normal fans that love horror films aren't out for that. Like when we go to conventions or whatever and we meet these people, it's just like, hey man, I thank you for entertaining me. Yeah. Thank you, Bill Moseley, for entertaining me. I thank you, John Carpenter, for entertaining me. Just different people I met. Sid Haig, thank you, sir, for entertaining me.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and most of them are grateful. I ain't gonna say all of them.
Some of them aren't. But there's.
Or maybe maybe they're just having a bad day, too. Like I had a bad experience with King Hodder, but everyone says like how awesome he is. Well, to me, he wasn't so awesome, but he was a little bit rude. But then I met Tony Todd, who
I heard he's a game changer.
It was the absolute game changer, man. We actually had a conversation. We got lost in time. Like, he didn't ask me for money or anything. He forgot all about money. He forgot where he was. I always forget where I'm at, but he forgot where he was, and we just had a conversation about Candyman, 24, the Final Destination films, just and life in general. He was so excited to reprise the role of Candyman.
Man,
and this was like 8-9 years ago, and I'm like, man, this guy's so passionate, and he's not just passionate about the film. He was passionate about the fans. He was so grateful, and he just changed everything. Like I've met, like I said, Kane Hodder. I met the guy that played Michael Tyler Mane in the Rob Zombie's version.
I met Tyler Mane. I believe. I met Ken Kirsinger. He played Jason.
Yeah, I met him too.
He's a sweet guy.
Yeah, and those guys, they were kind, they were nice, but Tony was on a freaking different level.
I met James Jude Courtney. That guy is a rock star. He is so sweet. Oh my goodness, I was just flabbergasted. I can't even think of the word, but I was just like, just to meet this guy, get an autograph from him, and talk to him, and it just like really was a great experience for me. And I also met John Carpenter several times. At WKU, he came to give a lecture in one of my film classes. I seen him when he came into what now they call Jody Richards Hall. We called it Mass Media, Mass Mammoth back in the day. He came in and he went outside to smoke a cigarette. This is during the whole Kobe Bryant alleged rape scenario thing that's going on. And so I asked him, I was like, man, what do I have to ask him? Because I went outside and he was sitting out there smoking. He was by himself. Nobody else just noticed him. And I knew what he looked like. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, hey, man, what about them Lakers? He said, oh, man, they should get it together, man. They blah, 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 blah. And we started talking about the Lakers. And I was like, man, I hate this was going on with Kobe. And he said, oh, well, he'll make it through this. And we're just having a conversation, man. And I'm like, in my mind, while I'm talking to him, I'm thinking, I am literally sitting here talking to John Carpenter like it's nothing, just shooting the breeze.
Exactly.
And I love that. It's a great, when you meet somebody like that, it just is a game changer.
Yeah, it really is. And another experience I had was with Tom Atkins. Like, the dude literally inspired me to rewrite a script I had written. And I wrote it for this one character for him because he wasn't in the original.
We'd love to have you on the podcast.
Oh, I love to have Tom. Tom's awesome. He made fun of my shirt. I don't care. It's like, because he was really selling Night of the Creeps for me. I had never even seen it, never even heard of it.
Since then.
Oh yeah, I bought it right after I talked to him. Well, literally the next day I went. FYE was still still running. They had it for like $24.99. I was like, I don't care. Tom Atkins says this is an amazing movie. He sold me on it, and I was like,
Joe Whitlow's in it.
And he's like, and I watched it, and I fell in love with that movie.
With that man.
Man.
He's great, man.
He really is.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you ever do write this script, call me. I'm always looking for work.
That's great. I love it. I met, and then we'll get back to Halloween, but I met Michael Berryman. For those that don't know Michael Berryman, he was in the original Hills Have Eyes. I believe he shows up in a couple of Rob Zombie stuff too. But he's also in Weird Science, and he's in.
Yes, he was.
He looks very, very odd. He has an actual condition where he doesn't have pores, he doesn't have hair, he doesn't have fingernails, but he's a really, really gentle giant. He's a sweet guy. And man, me and him spoke for over an hour, just talking in Nashville at a convention. He didn't even charge me for no autograph. We just sat and talked. And just when you meet people like that, Ken Sagos, Mick, just man, and it's just great stuff. But anyway, back to Halloween. So whose death in this movie was the best? What was the best death for you?
Linda's boyfriend getting stabbed and
the head tilt. There's all
the head tilt. Yeah, and I was watching it last night. And I was like, man, Jason really copied him. Just like, and I had never noticed the head tilt really. Like I noticed it last night. It's to me though. It's like he's investigating death.
Oh, they said they bring back Lonnie in Halloween Kills. KJ said that, by the way. So
That's
to
great.
answer, so to answer your question, thank you, KJ. Hey, if y'all jump on YouTube on the Markout Movie podcast page, if you want to, your comments will show up on the screen. We just can't do it on Facebook. It doesn't alert us that there's comments on Facebook. But my cousin Shatria says Salem's Lot traumatized me as a child. The Exorcist and The Omen and Children of the Corn. Halloween wasn't that scary to me, and it wasn't for everyone. But for me, is how what's scary about Halloween is not only the face of Michael Myers, the mask, this William Shatner's altered mask, which I didn't. I love finding out that that's what it was years later. But
Yeah.
now I cannot tell. I can only see William Shatner in the mask. Every time I look at it, I see William Shatner's face. But I love that. But it's got to be that score by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
The not only that score, and I know KJ will appreciate that. Not only John, because he's a composer as well, but not only John's score for the main Halloween score, but the Stalking Laurie score and everything, all the subtle,
Yeah.
whenever you see Michael in the distance, and I love
It raises the suspense for the film. I mean, anytime that any kind of a score was played in Halloween, it just raises the bar. Like you knew something was about to happen. It almost similar to Jaws in that sense when that score hits. Movies, games, and music are nice. Escape from reality, absolutely. I agree 100%. I need to get back to gaming so much.
But yeah, that score, man, is you mentioned Jaws. It's just very much like that. Yeah.
If you take the score out of the movie, it's not terrifying at all. I mean that for Jaws as well, or any big horror film that came out. It always has a good score. And I'll even include this with Friday the 13th. You take away that little score, you take it out of the movie, it's not the same. Music elevates the movie.
I want to show real quick a clip from. This is a reaction from the audience, recorded in 1979. This is like the movie came out in 78, but this is an audience reaction that was filmed in 79. I just want you to hear everybody's reaction. This is towards the end of the movie. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. The music, just the whole chase scene with Lori at the end is just like the whole thing leading up to it. Just even the eerie feeling walking from her house, or not her house, but Tommy's house to the other house, the murder house in this case. it just was so eerie. It just it just sense of presence about it.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely had a tremendous presence, like terrifying presence. I mean, like if I would have been around, I was not born in '78.
Neither was I.
But if I had been like a teenager watching that movie, I'd been terrified. Like I had never experienced anything quite like that in a movie theater. Uh, the most roaring crowd I've ever been to was probably Friday the 13th reboot, and that was a bunch of cheers at the opening scene when Jason kills pretty much everybody. But nothing. I've never been in a theater where people were literally, on the edge of the seat, terrified. I think it's missing today.
I don't think that like I remember the audience reaction of watching Halloween Resurrection. It was I mean it started out pretty strong. I think Halloween 2018 was a pretty strong audience, but I think mainly the only audience that I'm thinking about honestly that I can think of the reaction is the end game. Like I can remember that moment where you hear on your left or whatever, and then like that portal opens up and you see and you're like, oh my gosh, like everybody starts erupting. I remember that watching that in movie theaters here. But yeah,
that was a big
horror. Moment. I don't think I've seen people like Get Out was great. That was a great type of experience. Especially like that moment where spoilers for Get Out, the moment where you see that police lights coming up at the end and he just shot the girl, and you think, oh Lord, oh, like especially the black dude, you're like, oh no, he about to die. That's what your first mindset is, like, oh Lord. And then when you see the eruption when it's Laurel, you're like, oh man, yes, yes. You just I don't know. It's hard to just fabricate, those type of experiences at the movie. That's why you need theatrical films, like going to the movies, just the experience.
Yeah, that's why I love it. You get the reactions, and that's why I like going like on Friday nights. I missed that, for the most part of my life going to the movies. I rarely went on Friday nights. I didn't like big crowds when I was a teenager, so I do more so as an adult. I like seeing people's reactions because I'm a big film fan. I love that. So, okay, I'll let you go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, finish your thought.
Go ahead.
Okay, real quick. Audience participation add to the movies back then is rare today because people don't get to the theaters anymore, and that kind of piggyback on what you're saying.
Yeah, they don't. Like I said, Friday 13th reboot's the closest thing I got. People erupted when Jason killed all those people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was nice. It was a good feeling. I was like, wow, I never heard of an audience. Like, the closest thing I could tell you an audience would be WrestleMania. It kind of felt that, like,
I've never been to WrestleMania.
Like a smaller eruption like that. But, yeah, the crowd was just livid and then, on fire. Like, when The Rock would come out and he opened it up. He set the ball. He set it too high, actually.
Well, yeah.
We were electrified with him,
yeah.
But it's a similar experience.
They kind of shot themselves in their foot, didn't they? But oh wow, that audience was really in tune with the movie.
Yeah, they were.
Let's see. I do miss watching movies in theaters where the audience is so into the movie. Yeah, I agree. And then lastly, Get Out and Avengers Endgame were two good examples for me too. Yeah, those type of movies were just excellent audience vibes, man. That's what this movie does, and most of it is the score. Like the camera is a character in this movie, so is the score.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what you need. And what you said about Giles is excellent too, because in that movie, the score is a character in the movie. The score, when you don't see Bruce, you hear the score, doo doo. You're hearing that, you think he's around. You think just like and yes, Sean Cunningham stole it too. This is Mancini's score was great, but yeah, it's just like in Friday the 13th that key killed my mind. You hear it and you think, well, then you didn't know it's Jason, but now you know that you associate that with Jason
Yeah.
and his presence.
Yeah, it's catchy and it worked. And if they would have went with something else, you know, I don't know. I don't think Friday 13th would have lasted. If I think the score is much of the reason why it's so popular because you didn't have Jason in 1980. You had Mrs. Voorhees. You had Pamela.
Yeah.
And I think the score gets you through that movie. I think the movie's good. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a good movie. Sean Cunningham got lucky. Just, I will never give that man love because he lives off Jason Voorhees. In my opinion, he didn't even create it.
And so, I think that like with the Halloween score, I think like later, like in 2018, we'll talk about it later. But Cody Carpenter and Mike and John actually beefed up the tempo and the score, made it meatier, and give it some heaviness to it because it's a Halloween 2018 is such a heavy movie, heavy horror film. But yeah, I like. I want to talk about another character in this movie. Well, my favorite character in this movie is PJ Soul's character.
Wanda.
Yeah, I love her totally. I totally love her, and I also love Sheriff Brackett. You know, love how he wants to dismiss. Actually, he wants to dismiss Loomis, but also Loomis is to be a blame for some of this too because he didn't alert. He alert his boys, like the sheriff's department, to be on alert.
Yeah.
But he never alerts the media. He says, "Should we?" Brackett says, "Should we alert the media? Let them know that this man is here and to be on." They said, "Well, no, he'll be shooting at. They'll be shooting at everybody, everything that moves." You know, which ultimately what happens in 2, they go a little crazy with it, right?
Yeah, and also I think he didn't want a massacre, but he knew someone was going to get killed that night. Like he didn't do everything he could have to prevent it. I don't think it's like, and I'm not saying he wanted it to happen or anything, but he could have. They could have done Loomis could have done a better job at preventing it. You know, he stayed at Michael's house way too long.
I forgot to mention this. My cousin mentions this too, and this is true. I forgot about this. Thank you, Tria. The music and the mask is what gets you. And then she mentions WKU Orchestra. Yes, WKU's orchestra did like help with the music of Halloween. I think it's even in the first original credits. I think it says something like either Bowling Green or WKU. Because John Carpenter's father was like the head of the music department at WKU. You know, here that's how they moved from New York to Kentucky. You know, his dad took a job here at WKU, and so that's very much there. And she said she's gonna sleep with the lights on tonight because of the music. And the first few Halloweens were good, but got silly after that. Love that they put Bowling Green on the map, absolutely. And that's why the movie resonates with me so much. Is you know I grew up like driving on riding with my mom or whatever on the bypass, and you know they mentioned the bypass and they mentioned Russellville Road, Russellville, Smiths Grove, and me going to the country to see my granddad in Smiths Grove. I'm like, where's Michael? You know, because it's his home, and there's a rumor that 2 was shot here. It really wasn't. It's just a legend. But yeah, what were your thoughts on some of these other characters like Anne Brackett and Anne Brackett, Sheriff Brackett, and then Linda?
Like I actually like Annie the best. I don't know why. I think it's the actress. Like everything I've seen her in, she's just been really good. Now her death is, I don't know. It felt fake to me a little bit over the years. When I first saw it, I was kind of terrified of it, but over the years, it feels phony.
Her death was probably the weakest death in the movie, but hers is.
But I thought her overall acting was really strong.
But they made characters in this movie that you cared about. You didn't want them to die, and there's so many times he teased at her death. Like you could see him looking at her when she was trying to, he kills the dog. Like this man don't care about killing dogs, man.
I don't care about dogs.
He eats dogs too. But yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does. In both
they mentioned
both versions, he eats
they
dogs.
mentioned that there's a dead dog inside the Myers home that's been eaten. It is warm,
And
so
it's
Michael got
also in
hungry.
Resurrection, I do believe.
And then
There's Bones' dog.
let's see. Um, but yeah, there. But Anne, she's that song she's singing. Oh, Paul, you call, things like that. But this her character was a character I actually enjoyed her character,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed all the characters, the lady characters, not so much the guys. The guys were throwaways, but the ladies were the ones that when they died, you're like, oh no, that she's dying. You cared about their character, and yeah, uh, she goes to get the keys because the door is locked, and then when she
Yeah.
gets back in, she gets back to the car, and it's just one shot. The camera just pop, not one shot, but the camera just following her, getting the keys, and you think, where is he gonna jump out at? And I love that. And then she gets in the car, and she don't even think about the fact that this door was already locked. So Michael had it locked. He unlocked it to let her in, and then you could see and I didn't notice this until last night, the condensation,
Mm-hmm.
and she's wiping. I was like, I always wondered what was she doing, but it's just that they're steaming there. Somebody's been in there breathing,
Yeah.
body heat, and so she's wiping it, and that's when he grabs her, and he chokes her, but I think he ultimately stabs her or slashes her, don't he? Because it looks like his hand does something.
Yeah, there was no blood.
There's no blood though. There's not a lot of blood in this movie. There's KJ. Um, Hardin County and Halloween 2. That's true.
But you know what? One thing I would have hoped for at some point in this series that they would have brought up Paul. I mean.
Yeah, they mentioned Paul, but they never. He didn't show up in 2.
No, I'm not. Like if you from a character study, he's got to be considered the luckiest man alive. Yeah. And I wonder if he would have had regret, like he wasn't there to protect Annie, or I as a character study, I would love this for him to be in one of these 2 Halloween sequels.
I was thinking about that, not so much. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about young Michael in this movie. What if the movie went this route instead of Michael walking out with the knife in his hand? But what if he made it look like Judah's boyfriend murdered her because he left the house?
Yeah.
And he just would live the rest of his life, but little by little murdering people and stuff like that. And I was like, that would have been a totally different movie. I was just like that little idea popped in my head. I was like, that would have been a totally different movie if Michael hadn't have got caught.
Yeah, that's probably what Rob should have done.
Absolutely, make it your. When they say make it your own, they don't mean
he did make it his own, but
they don't mean to give Michael a backstory. He comes from a crappy home. Nobody needs that. Evil is better when you don't know why they're doing it. Yeah. It's not everything is abuse. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody was abused. KJ also says, I feel like Annie's death hit the hardest on the film, even though Lori and Annie were close friends. Annie was more closer to Lori than they were like sisters. Yeah, I could agree with that. I think that they were the closest friends.
Yeah.
But I also feel that I feel like all the friends kind of underestimated Lori. I think that, and I got that vibe that they looked at Lori like, oh, Lori, you're too plain. I can't. You think about boys? Yeah, Lori, I didn't know you thought about boys. Things
they almost
like that.
treated her like she was like a lesbian or something.
Yeah, they treat her like she's like not
they were too good for her.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Like she's a friend, but she's like the friend that they just keep along. Like, hey, do me a favor, watch these kids while I go and do what I want to do.
Yeah, they took advantage of her.
Yeah, they take advantage of her. Like, not really truly friends. You know what I'm saying? They friends, but they just they're not really lasting relationships. Like if they had all lived maybe after high school and college, they probably wouldn't have been as close as they would have. as they were in high school. This is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Friends separating apart. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
I feel you.
But let's see. And now he's blowing us up. What are you saying? Oh Lord, he's on Rob Zombie. Stripper man bullsh. Couldn't stand that dang stepdad. Hey, but William Forsythe is great.
Yeah, he was great in the movie.
But yeah,
But I don't
yeah,
hate Rob Zombie's Halloween. I hate the sequel.
the pushover kind of, yeah. That's what we're saying. She's almost like a pushover. But we're getting to the end of the movie. And I want to mention this. The so the final girl trope is a trope that has been out since Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, she is dubbed the first final girl in horror films. And then, but what Laurie did, because she didn't really fight back in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She just escaped and lived. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She didn't really fight back. Laurie is credited as the first final girl, and I'm probably misremembering Black Christmas, like the final girl on that. But I'm thinking that she didn't really. She might fall back a little bit, but I don't think she fought back to the level that Laurie did.
From what I remember, I only seen it once.
Maybe she didn't fight back at all.
I don't think they had an actual scene together. Like he calls her at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I know that she goes in the room and then he's like, "Hey, I'm Billy, I'm right here." You know, something like that. Yeah. That's so that movie's creepy, man. But you never see the dude's face. But you just see his eyeball and he's looking all weird. But in this movie, like she takes that knitting needle and stabs Michael in the neck.
Yeah.
And then later on, stabs him pokes him in the eye with the clothes hanger, which is smart. I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have died a long time ago in this movie. Let's be honest. And then she takes the knife and stabs him. She stopped throwing the knife around. But I love how she was like so like, what's the word I'm looking for? Repulsed. She's repulsed by it. Repulsed by this bloody weapon and repulsed by. So she throws it away. But, you know.
Yeah, I remember thinking, hey, actually, I said this last night out loud. It's like, no, you don't put the knife down.
Yeah.
Like, I got into it. And it's been a while since I got into, like, a horror movie like that, watching it at home.
I feel you. Yeah. I got into it as well.
But, and, like, you know, I was like, it's such a white woman. See, Aaron rubbing off on me. Because he's always saying that's such a white thing to do.
It really is. Like, we black folks don't tend to give you the weapon back when you shoot. But no, we tend to just like go ahead and hold on to that thing for a little bit. And just we ain't even gonna check to see if you're still living. We just you down, we out. We like let's go.
No, when he went down though in the hangar scene,
yeah,
I was like, no, you stab him in the head. You keep stabbing him in the head.
Yeah.
And she just walked over him. I was like, no.
It reminds me of seeing in the new Wrong Turn. Like somebody wanted to make sure somebody was dead for sure in that movie. But yeah, this movie, man. So that final girl trope. This was my point.
Okay.
If it hadn't have been for say a Laurie Strode, I don't believe we would have got a Sidney Prescott. Or Nancy, I can't think of Nancy Thompson. Yeah, I don't think that. I think
know these names.
I don't think that we would have got those final girls if it had not been for.
I tell you one final girl you wouldn't have got.
Who?
Alice. From Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I know it seems like I'm hating on my franchise, but I'm really not. I mean,
well, she was weak. She was the weaker of the final girls. The 1 and 2 was better. Mommy's talking to you.
I mean, I liked Alice. I knew, you know what, though, when I first seen Friday the 13th original, because I didn't see the originals later on. Like, I had seen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but I hadn't seen, it was before.
You are so weird when it comes to movies.
Like, I didn't know that Jason wasn't the original killer, but, you know, when I was
watching the person like, what's going on?
Yeah, I was like, But what I got so upset over because I've always been a Bacon fan. I had no idea Kevin
love-
Bacon was
love-
in the original.
I love Bacon.
I mean, I got so upset when they killed Bacon.
Y'all should make us a T-shirt that says "We Love Bacon" and put the Markout Movie Podcast on it and send it to us. 3X, probably 4X. All right, but
I'm almost down to a 2X.
oh, what's up? But but yeah, no. But what did you think about that point though, with the final girl, like with her fighting back and becoming the prototype for other final
Yeah,
girls?
she Lori is the first final girl.
Where
I wouldn't.
Nancy took it up a notch.
Nancy took it up a notch, but I consider Nancy my favorite final girl because I don't know. I mean, she fought Freddy. I mean, the Dream Master. I mean, she
fought Freddy.
I mean,
and beat the heck out of him. Brought him into real life.
Yeah, and she was the one to really fight back.
Yeah.
Lori was just surviving.
Yeah.
Anyone against Jason, they were basically surviving. They weren't trying to fight.
My point too
Nancy
is
was.
Yeah. My point too is though, because of these people, like you got different variations of that final girl trope that has now, and I'm stopping at Sidney Prescott, because Sidney Prescott is from the very first Scream to the very last Scream that we see, which is 4 until the new one comes out. She is strong. She's much of a stronger character.
Yeah.
And she's not like, she don't take any crap. And I put her on that level now with the Loris and the Nancys, and because she's that strong. And that's just a credit to Wes Craven and his innovation as a creator. So
my opinion on Wes has changed over the years, but we ain't gonna get on it. But it really has, though. I mean, I didn't usually put him up there with Carpenter. I do now. If maybe a little more, I have to really go back and see the library of both these guys. But I really think they're neck and neck now, and they made classics. You can't deny them, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Wes, he made 2 icons with Freddy and Ghostface. I mean,
he really did. Yeah.
I mean,
that's true. That's rare to, and you can say the same for Carpenter too. He made Michael, and he made Pliskins.
Yeah, Snake. Yeah.
And and freaking Roddy, he gave us Roddy Piper. He showed us that Roddy Piper was a badass.
I mean, us wrestling fans already knew.
We already knew that, but I'm saying, but Roddy became a bankable. He was in low budget stuff, but Roddy, man, had promise. I'm a huge Roddy Piper fan too. So, but anyway, but
yeah, he was awesome to meet. He really was.
Yeah, I met him in Nashville, I think. But God rest his soul. But so real quick, let's go ahead and get into our final thoughts, and then we're gonna share our marks for this movie. My final thoughts, as far as like with Loomis. Loomis was almost like chasing and that's what Loomis becomes in the series, is like chasing his great white, chasing that whale. That whale.
Yeah.
He becomes that guy that chases that, and he's almost like the yin to the yang of Michael.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I agree with that 100%. My final thoughts on the movie, though, Michael was just this force that would not stop. He's gonna kill.
Still going. I'm pointing at the wrong side because it's inverted.
He just would not stop. He will not stop until he kills Lori.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they already did that with Resurrection. He killed her in the opening, but it's going to be a defining moment when he gets her. Mm-hmm. And I believe he's going to get her in ends. I don't think it's going to be kills.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be ends.
Yeah.
And it'd be fitting that it's called Halloween Ends.
And you know what? It's what I'm hoping for. No spoilers. If anybody knows, please don't spoil it for me. But I'm hoping that what we get is it's got to be a time where it's time for Jamie Lee to step away. She can't like stay here. But I'm hoping that we never get it. I don't think they'll ever kill Michael, because the Akkads say you cannot kill Michael. That's a rule. Cannot kill Michael. Got to always leave a window for Michael to live. because you can't definitively kill the guy. Even though Carpenter was like, well, we'll talk about 2 next week, um, but I think that if you kill off Lori and ends, kills or ends, whichever one probably ends, if you kill off Lori, you gotta then have him either stalk some family, somebody new, or maybe stalk Lori's granddaughter because she got away.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. We're going to get to it in 2018, but he's not after Lori.
No, he's not.
He's not. He's just trying to get home by the new trailers. That's his purpose is to go back home.
Okay.
But then in 2018, she is so consumed with him. It's personal with her. With him, it's not. It's like
it's like.
And you think it would be? He'd be locked up for so long, but he's like.
Well, he knows. Well, he wants to. He wants to.
I believe he wants to kill her.
Yeah, like the one that got away. It's like the one that got away. Ooh, I'm gonna get you. He's been itching to kill her all those years. Those dumb podcasters. Oh my goodness. Yeah, y'all not real podcasters. We're real podcasters. But anyway, real quick, my mark out. So
okay.
All right. So the movie ends. Michael's laying down. Loomis shoots him 6 times, 9 times. I think.
I actually think in the original it is 5 times, but in the sequel they reshoot it for 6.
Yeah. And he also was stabbed. They never mentioned that little tidbit. Michael's been stabbed by Lori too. But anyway, But so
that is my favorite opening of any movie in the series.
This part 2.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to watch it. Literally, I agree with you real quick. I agree with you. Well, let me go and get my marks, and then I'm going to say because it's going to lead to my marks. So, all right, I give this 5 markouts out of 5, hands down. Why would I give it anything less? Yes, this movie. I agree with you. As I was watching this movie, I was never bored. I was excited.
Right. Keeps you on the edge of your seat throughout.
And then especially the third act, it just even though you know what's gonna happen, you are still like
you're invested.
You're glued. Yeah. You're invested. And it's crazy how I seen this movie. I lost count how many times I've seen this movie, and I own this film on every form of media. And nevertheless, I still was looking at that movie like, what's gonna happen next? Even though I know literally what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't take my eyes off of it that last 30 minutes. At all. I mean, I was glued to the TV. And 5 markouts, of course. I mean, it's a classic. It's one of my favorites. It's not my favorite, but it is one of my favorite. I would say it's probably number 2 on the Carpenter list, though. I can't think of anything besides that and The Thing that I truly love. Like
truly is like.
I mean, I like Christine and
I actually fancy Memoirs of the Invisible Man. I know people don't like that movie, but I love that movie. Yeah. I love that movie.
That was pretty good too.
I mean, kill me if you want to, guys, but I actually dug that movie. I know a lot of people don't like. I love that movie.
I actually like it.
I'm a Chevy Chase fan, so I know that he's a prick, but I love Chevy. So
I love.
It is what it is. I mean, if you're a fan of Chevy, you're a fan of Chevy. And I'm a fan of Chevy.
I'm a fan of the artist.
Yeah.
I'll go with it.
I haven't met him in person, so. But
I think go first.
Yeah, and we'll say this, and then we'll. All right. He says it's a 5 out of 5 for me too. Yep. And KJ, I assume there's a 5 for you if you're still watching. But yeah, next week, we're gonna continue in the Halloween series. This is going to go all the way through to Halloween Kills. So we're going to continue with Halloween 2, which, Carpenter reluctantly returned. So did Debra Hill. And we'll talk about that. They reluctantly returned. They didn't really want to.
Carpenter had to go get drunk to write this script.
We'll talk about it.
Whatever gets you through it. I mean,
whatever gets you through it. And we'll talk about. I believe Rick Rosenthal. Picked up the directing of this, but it was a horrible experience for him. We'll talk more about that next week. But I'm excited, man, just to kick off this Halloween series, especially with you. It's fun, man. And it got this movie. Watching this movie last night got me excited to start watching another horror movie. So I started like watching random horror stuff. Just to got me in the mood now.
Got you in the
It
spirit.
got me in the horror spirit, even though we're like 2 months away from like October.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to pop in Halloween 2.
Immediately.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't really want to pop in Halloween 2018, because I mean, I know it's the sequel now. You know, it's a multi universe. I mean,
It's a multi-universe.
yeah, I mean, but
it proved it in Halloween 2018. When you see the Silver Shamrock mask, it's a multiverse.
yeah, you know what they should do though? They should do an actual sequel to Halloween 3. Get Tom Atkins.
I love that.
Yeah, I know some diehard Halloween fans hate that movie. I don't personally hate it, but
when I was younger,
I hated it.
Yeah, I hated it because I was like, it's not Michael Myers, that's one of those guys. But now I honor it for what it is. It is a masterpiece of a film. I think Tommy Wallace directed that one.
Yeah.
He's also a Bowling Green guy. But yeah. Hey, one more comment and then we're gonna cut it off, guys. We went over an hour. Oh, this is a long time. 2 comments. Oh my goodness. KJ says, I want to be on Ben the episode. I imagine you're saying you want to be on the next episode, which we could see if we can kind of. Let's see. We could probably bring you in on the double screen. What do you think about that?
It's fine with me.
All right. Well, you gotta be available. Be available. All right. I want a Michael Myers, Freddy, and Jason movie. All right. So these properties will never meet because they are owned by totally different studios. As far as right now, no. Michael now is owned by. He was Dimension. No,
Blumhouse, right?
He's from Blumhouse. Yeah, Blumhouse owns
And
it.
Universal, right?
Yeah, Blumhouse and Universal owns Michael.
I don't.
Freddy, Jason is. They're fighting over Jason.
Nobody owns Jason.
The original rights is supposed to go revert because there's this whole clause. That's why they made. That's why they made. What was that movie? Pet Cemetery. That's why they made that Pet Cemetery movie back in 2018. Yeah, they made it because if they had not made that movie, the rights would have reverted back to Stephen King. And
now it's getting a prequel.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's getting the prequel.
Yeah. So that's what they did. So I think now Jason has lapsed, and now they don't know.
Kane Hodder chimed in on it and said that he didn't believe Jason would ever be seen again on the big screen.
Which is a pity. He's a juggernaut. He is. If Michael, Bruce Campbell said Halloween is the Cadillac of slasher films, and if that's the case, I would say Friday 13th and Jason Voorhees is a monster truck of slasher films. Like he's a juggernaut.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a total Jason fan, but
he's a mark for Jason.
I really am, and I know his films aren't as good as some of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I say some because some of them are a joke. They took him into a very light area, and I wish they hadn't. But I mean, some of them Michael films, like I'm not a fan of 5 or Curse, but
we're gonna watch Curse and we're gonna also do the producer's cut too.
We are
maybe
because I don't have that.
I'll let you borrow it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say, I know his films aren't stronger, but Jason, his presence. I mean, just his presence when he's killing someone, it's a moment.
It is a moment. It is a moment. Yeah, absolutely, it's a moment.
And that's why you go to his films to see him kill. You don't go for the story, you go for the kills. And yeah. He's like a Big Mac, And
this is honestly and I will say this, where Jason, the concept of Friday 13th was initially a ripoff of Halloween, because after Halloween you got a slew of holiday movies like Sound Like Deadly Night, what is it? New Year's Evil, other movies. Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis is in that too.
They were really trying to rip off Halloween.
There's all kinds of movies that just create dominoed effect after Halloween. But
They didn't get it.
I would say this: later on, the versions of Michael Myers imitated more of Jason Voorhees, because like the punching the hand through the like the finger through people's skull.
Yeah.
That's something that Jason would be able to do. That's something that Michael never typically wouldn't be able to do.
And that's kind of what Rob turned him into, and definitely in the sequel.
Yeah.
He
So
felt more like Jason than he did Michael. I was like, man, he's
big hulking, and
Yeah.
you know, there's no. I love that they cast James Jude Courtney because he looks like he would naturally be Michael today.
yeah.
You know, versus like freaking big, huge, swollen Tyler Mane. You know,
Yeah.
freaking Sabretooth. Yeah, he looks like, you know, where did Michael do steroids and hit the gym? Like, where did this happen? Did he eat his whole time of being in sanitarium? But all right, I'm done. This is Jason is a horror icon. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we're done. We gotta stop this, guys, because we could talk for another hour or two. But next week, Halloween 2. Can't wait. Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey.
And we are the Markout
Movie
Movie
Podcasters.
Podcasters. Thank